GamerCastNetwork.com.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Network video game show for Sunday, March 1st, 2009. This is episode 131. I'm Chad, and this week for the roll call, a question from Keith.
Your favorite and/or most memorable old-school video game ending.
There we go. And joining us this evening is, well, Keith, since you asked the question, tell us your answer.
I remember when Chris and I beat Bad Dudes for the Nintendo. If you're saving the president or something, and he's like, hey, thanks for saving me, let's go get a sandwich or a burger or something. And then it's just the end of the game, and it shows you with the president.
And also joining us this evening is Tom.
As far as memorable, I just remember the buzz it caused in the neighborhood when everyone found out that at the end of Metroid, Samuel was a girl. And that was like, everyone talked about it, and everyone passed around the code so you could jump ahead to the end and see it for yourself.
Samus Aran, I think was her name. What was the code, wasn't it? Or Justin Bailey was the code.
Who the hell's Justin Bailey?
I don't know. I would assume it's probably like some producer, developer of the game, the whore that he hired before the game went gold.
And also joining us is Phil.
I would have to say most memorable was probably the original Resident Evil, just because I think I finished that game in the first, 48 hours that I played that game. I can't remember too much further back beyond that, maybe Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, come on, that was a great ending to that game.
It had an ending?
Not really. It said you are the Super Bowl winners. And it had like that still animation of confetti, and that was it.
Still animation.
And also joining us is Ivan.
I couldn't think of a favorite, but a memorable one was Rygar. When you get to the very end, it says, like, congratulations, you win. And that was it. And it sucked. Big letdown.
And finally joining us, I gave you lots of time, Bob, so come up with something good.
It doesn't matter. I never finished anything. I tried to tell you that. I tried really hard to finish Xevious on the Atari 7800, unaware that the game just kept going. It just generates boards and never stops. I got pretty far, though.
Nothing else? Nothing? I'm giving you...
No.
You can lie. Lie. Our listeners don't know.
I don't want to lie. Why do I need to lie? Why do I even need to answer the question? I gave an answer. There's something to put in the show. There.
At least you're not high maintenance. Maybe if you ever would have played me, you could have used me as an ending.
Yeah, I tried to finish Team Fortress. Oh, wait.
You didn't try very hard.
Sure didn't. Just sitting there on the shelf, not getting any loving from you. Stupid mother.
Get back in your hole. If I need you, I'll ask for you.
No, I don't want to go back in the hole.
Back in the hole.
No, stop. I just want to be played.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Maybe if you're more like Left 4 Dead.
Why is Left 4 Dead so much better? I don't understand. I'm a good gamer. Solid gameplay. I got more weapons than Left 4 Dead does.
Yeah. Ah, well. Okay, my answer, I think I said it before, was the exploding Hitler face from Bionic Commando. I just remember it.
Yeah. Good old exploding Hitler face. Always comes back to good games have Nazis.
This week on the GamerCast Network. Do you like flicking your bean? If you do, join Jim Sterling and the gang for this week's episode of The Podcastle. If you don't, go listen to something else. Check out Podtacular for all the latest news from the unofficial Halo universe. On Uncle Gamer Radio, is the PSP finally making a comeback? Little Big Planet, Rock Band, and Assassin's Creed may be the saving grace for the portable system, as Larry and Jay discuss the recent announcements at Destination PlayStation. Podtoid will discuss why it took EA so goddamn long to understand why holiday releases aren't the best idea ever. The Gamertag radio staff is back after the crazy anniversary party at Community Vibes 4 that took place in Miami, Florida. Find out what they had to say about Vibes and what they are planning for next year's party. Also, a roundtable review of Halo Wars for the Xbox 360. On the Sarcastic Gamer PlayStation podcast, the crew discusses Sony's 2009 PS3 lineup and why Rock Band Unplugged will suck. Discover the community that brings you all these great podcasts and more. GamerCastNetwork.com.
Next topic.
Last night I downloaded a demo called Death Tank, I want to say, for XBLA. It's yet another take on Scorched Earth, because like Worms was kind of the first one, but Worms was very cutesy. And Death Tank is much more like the original, where it's just a couple tanks on a terrain, but it happens in real time, so it's not turn-based like Worms is, and the way the original Scorched Earth was. But this one has a lot of cool visuals, so it just looks pretty cool, and so I'm thinking of actually plopping down cash for it.
It's in real time. Does that really change the game a lot?
It does. The original Scorched Earth, there was some tension as your opponent kind of found the proper range to hit you. There was definitely a tension there because you knew, like, after he was starting to get closer, you knew the next shot you were going to get killed. In real time, I don't think you have that same kind of tension, especially because you could also move your tanks.
Wow, would that game ever end?
Yeah, how do you actually end a game then if you could?
Nukes, just like in real life.
Are there limits to how you can move? Can the guy blow away the ground around you and stop you from moving?
That was one thing I was really, really disappointed about. So in Worms, you can change the terrain because you can blow out ground from underneath things. In Death Tank, I'm like, I couldn't believe you couldn't blow out ground. So there needs to be a third incarnation of Scorched Earth on XBLA that combines the aspects of Worms and the aspects of Death Tank together.
And makes Death Worms.
Sweet.
My dog had death worms. He's out back now.
Next topic.
Anybody do anything else?
I downloaded
Bob's been playing.
And so it begins. I can't say a damn thing.
Okay, Ivan, shoot. What were you going to download?
No, I quit.
No, don't quit. Don't
No.
quit. No, don't quit.
No. Go ahead, Phil.
I noticed Bob's been playing a lot of, what is it, Sword and Mount? What is that game?
Mountain Blade, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mountain Blade. What is that game?
I think we talked about it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, I noticed you were playing a lot, Bob.
Yeah, it's a good game. I wanted to play an RPG, and this kind of like hit the nail on the head of exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, see, dude, that's what I was saying. It's actually a very good game. It's very entertaining.
The graphics are bad because the battles can get up to like 300 people at one time.
Oh, how do you kill 300 people? You have minions, right?
You have your own armies, yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to become a feudal lord or something, so you keep recruiting people, and there's all sorts of crap you can do. Lay siege to castles, and all the lords and everything are constantly vying for power and trying to attack each other and all this stuff. It's a deep game. There's a lot going on.
People you free will join your army. You can talk prisoners into joining your army. You go around to different towns and recruit people.
Okay, so I remember we had said it was like Oblivion, but this obviously has more to it, more depth with the actual factions.
There's less quests. It's more you gotta just like kind of do what you want to do.
Yeah, you're not getting quests. The quests you really only do if you're trying to earn some favor with someone. But I still don't know what the point of that is, actually, earning favor with a lord. But for the most part, the game is you going around building your army to become a feudal lord. There's a demo. I mean, I know there's a demo. Go download the demo and try it. It is a lot of fun. I still haven't tried any mods yet, mainly because I don't feel like reading to figure out how to do it.
I thought I saw there was a mod to enhance the graphics.
Honestly, it doesn't bother me. Graphics aren't anywhere near as important to me if the gameplay is good and solid. What drives me nuts is when the gameplay is horrible and the graphics are superb. It's like if you would have had this the other way around, you'd have a good game. But if the gameplay and the game is fun, graphics are not really that important to me.
Next topic.
What the f?
Now what?
What's it?
What did it do? Don't you love switching to a Mac? What did it do?
All right. Around 35:05, it just looked like it had stopped. So I hit the record button, which actually stopped it from recording, and then I hit it again. So it's recording now, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry. I can make it all work as long as it says it's recording now. We're good. Okay, Ivan, what'd you download before? Come on, you said you were going to download something.
I downloaded, I don't know how to say it, Orions.
And this is like...
Oh.
Now what?
This project has too many real instrument tracks to be played in real time.
Oh, okay. Here's what you're going to do.
You're going to tell that guy playing the trumpet to get the out of the room is what you're going to do.
That's it. You're fired.
What you're going to do is you're going to stop everything. You're going to save it.
You're going to drop and you're going to roll, and then you're going to call 911.
You're going to stop everything, you're going to close GarageBand, and then you're going to reopen GarageBand, and then you're going to start a new project, and you're going to start a new recording. And you can go right from there, and I'll make it all work. Don't worry. I'm good. So yell when you're ready.
Why doesn't my mouse work?
Because it hates you.
The trumpet player unplugged it on his way out.
I think if Corky from Life Goes On ever made a podcast, this is what it would sound like.
Thank you for listening, Gamercast Network. #1.
That's how he would talk, exactly. We talk like normal people. We just act... Our content is retarded.
We just are retarded. We have IQs of 14 or less.
All right, you recording there, Ivan?
Oh?
What? Okay, sorry, just asking.
Case in point right here.
And in this interlude, people could be reading over the mail and seeing what we should.
I could be playing Bookworm. Thank you.
No.
I have 3 U's in a row. How the am I supposed to make a word out of that?
No.
Oh, well, at least Chad, he's on Facebook.
Or
Have you seen my Bejeweled Blitz score on Facebook?
No.
I broke 100,000.
Is that good?
Yes, it is. Which is why I'm telling you about it.
Well, I mean, come on, let's face it. Is it good? I mean, well, I forget what even was, but Chad said he wasn't very good at something. Yeah, I'm just going to stop talking because I'm just being vague, followed by more vague, with a side of vague.
Wow. We are extra retarded this week. I mean, there's got to be some kind of record. Somebody's paying attention.
Yeah, I think you get, 60 seconds to play or something?
That's the addictive thing about it, is that it's only a minute, so when you get done with one game, you're just like, oh, I'm just going to play another. It's only a minute. And then you do that like 60 times, and then
it's an hour.
But PopCap is doing this really interesting thing where what they do is the way you get this score, it's a cumulative score of all of your friends.
Oh, no.
So what they're doing is they give away swag like once a month or something like that. And to qualify for different levels of swag, whether or not you're getting like the PopCap towel or a laptop, is the cumulative score of all your friends together.
Wait, are these real objects you're getting?
It's a drawing, and to get an entry into the drawing, all of your friends together need to have this cumulative score. So that's kind of the social take on it.
It sounds dumb.
Well, at least it's something. You can win something instead of just playing a stupid little casual game. I mean, it's something. Speaking of something, you recording there, Ivan?
I hope so.
Okay, very good.
Next topic.
The Orion thing for the iPhone.
Yeah, this is the one that's like Magic the Gathering.
Okay, so how deep is it? Lots of cards, lots of tactics. What do you got?
Yeah, there's lots of cards. I've learned that I just do dual mode, which just gives you random cards that you can play with because the campaign mode is annoying.
How so?
You have this world map, and you start off in one little area, and you overtake each little island kind of thing. But then you have to build these towers, which give you energy, which allows you to... Essentially, anytime you, like a creature card, if you have a vampire, say, and he dies during a battle, then you now have 0 vampire cards, and you have to go make new ones. And you can only make new ones if you have enough of the right kind of energy, and in some cases you have to have the right kind of building. And it winds up not even being very important because you can pretty much control all the cities with just, buying a couple of cards here and there. Would have been nice just to, do battles and get cards.
Like duels for the Planewalker?
Yeah. So, like I said, I wind up just playing dual mode instead of campaign mode.
Does it play just like Magic, or is it a variation on the whole thing?
If you've played Magic the Gathering, one of the phases is the attack phase, and that's pretty much how it plays. You have 6 different colors of magic. You have creatures and spells that cost a specific color of magic, so you kind of play your card and then you attack. You have 5 squares with which to play cards. Creature cards stay out in play, whereas spell cards are used up, but if you have all 5 of your spaces taken up by creatures, then you can't cast any spells.
So we were pretty much correct when we said that a Magic-type card game would work on the iPhone.
This one works very well.
And how much was it?
It was $5, I think.
Well worth it?
For $5, yeah. For $10, I would say that the dual mode isn't as in-depth, and the campaign mode is more in-depth, but gets annoying with having to create things in order to produce cards. But yeah, but for $5, it's worth it.
Next topic.
And has anyone this week even tried Galactrix besides me?
No, but I'll be buying that for the DS.
Then we should talk about this because I hear bad things about the DS version. This last week, the new Galactrix came out, and I wasn't going to buy it at first because I was like, I don't want to buy anything off Steam. And I really didn't want to buy the DS version. I wanted it on the PC or the Xbox Live Arcade. It was delayed in Xbox Live Arcade. It's not on XBLA yet. That's going to be later for some strange reason. It didn't show up on Steam till like the day it came out for the DS. So as soon as that day rolled around, it was like, here it is on Steam. I said, okay, here's my money. I like it a lot. I like it more than Puzzle Quest because there were a lot of changes they made to the rule set that made it a lot more interesting. You know when you're playing Puzzle Quest, the AI always does those big long chains and gets all kinds of extra turns and all that, and you kind of like just get aggravated. They made a big change in the rule set for Galactrix. In Puzzle Quest, it required 4 gems to get an extra turn. Now it requires 5. And just by changing it to 5, the AI might still get a long chain, but rarely ever gets extra turns. Feels a lot more balanced.
I was going to say, I mean, once I got my knight up to a certain level, I don't think I ever lost in Puzzle Quest.
I think the thing is, in this one, you really need to get lots of spells. And in this one, they're not spells, they're gear and extra things you put on your spaceship. You have to craft the good stuff to put on there. So like the crafting is like akin to in Puzzle Quest when you captured a guy and you want to learn his abilities.
Training the mount and learning the abilities and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so in here it's crafting, and you actually have to do the crafting, you have to go mine asteroids, get the raw materials, and then there's a mini game for that. And then once you get the raw materials, there's a mini game to actually go build your parts. Now you can also buy some parts, but the good stuff is from the crafting. There's tons of mini games in this thing. I mean, there are those mini games. There's mini games to go from star system to star system. You have to hack they're called leap gates. Those are kind of like your pathways. I don't know why they did it this way because it's very tedious to do the hacking. Because the mini game is basically you have so much time, you have to make so many matches.
So what if you don't? Do you not travel?
If you don't, it stays locked and you gotta do it again.
That could get really annoying.
It does get very annoying. And here's the more annoying thing. When you make a match and you're seeing all these cascading chains happening, time isn't stopping.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's the thing I didn't like about doing that, is that the time didn't stop.
Challenge is you have to not chain when you're doing these things. It's kind of like the opposite. You don't want those. When those happen, unless you're getting the ones you need in the right order for the next sequence you have to do, you're going to be stuck there wasting time doing that. So that's the most tedious part of the game so far, is that. You know how in Puzzle Quest you had classes and everything? You had your Necromancer. Those are no longer around. There's no classes. You basically pick a guy.
And you just kind of build your ship.
You have your ship. You put different parts on the ship. You know, you can only carry like 4 or 5 things at a time. So when you craft something, you kind of like got to constantly be swapping out for the best that you have. You can have a stockpile of 15, 20 parts, and now you can only hold 4 at a time. So you got to put the best stuff on there. Your character himself, you have 4 areas to put points into. Each of those is basically a point bonus for a specific gem color. But that's really the only customization for your character. You don't pick to be like I don't know what the equivalent space necromancer would be, but you don't have like classes.
Star.
Yes. Whatever. So...
So you're approving of this so far?
Oh, I'm very approving of this. I like this game a lot more than Puzzle Quest. I'm of the opinion that if they ever to make an MMO, if Infinite Interactive ever made an MMO based around Puzzle Quest or Galactrix, I would be doomed. I'd probably play that thing like WoW. I mean, I'd be addicted to these damn games. On the DS version, so 9 on the forums said that he tried the DS version and it really, really sucks. Out of combat, the stylus pickups aren't that great. They're not very accurate. And when you're actually in the battles, it's a little bit better, but you still have to hit those gems dead center. So I could see problems with that with the hacking. There's loading times in the DS version. It's like 4 to 7 seconds to load a battle or load some screen when you're going between zones, and it takes time like 3 or 4 seconds to save. Mind you, DSs are all flash-based memory kind of things. It shouldn't have loading times, but hey.
Right.
Now, here's a question. So you guys were big Infinite Interactive fans back in the Warlords days. I've seen lots of people complain that Infinite Interactive isn't catering to those guys anymore because they're now on this whole Puzzle Quest Galactrix kick.
Gee whiz, why wouldn't they be focused on the games that never really made them any money and instead focus on the games that are making them millionaires? Gee, oh man, those dumbasses. Suck it up.
They're making money on Puzzle Quest and Galactrix. They weren't really making much money on Warlords, so why...
Why go back to it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still contemplating what a day in the life of a space necromancer would be like. Necromancer needs like a supply of dead bodies to begin with, right? I mean, that's what they do. That's their thing.
Maybe he uses black holes instead. They're dead stars. See?
That would be an extremely powerful dead thing to raise.
Next topic.
Mailbag.
I just wanted your opinions on something that came up recently on GameTrailers.com. They had a review of Grand Theft Auto 4: The Lost and the Damned, at which point they said there are no enhancements to the graphics, which looked a little bit shoddy, and that the DLC probably could have done more in terms of graphics. I wanted to know how you guys feel about that and whether or not you feel it's the DLC's place to improve the graphics. I just wanted your opinions on that, and once again, keep up the good work. All right? Bye.
can only speak to PC gaming, but by and large, patches only provided bug fixes or added content.
Yeah, they don't fix graphics and increase poly count and stuff.
I was just talking about that when we were talking about Mountain Blade. If the game is good, the graphics aren't nowhere near as important to me.
He was saying that some of the criticism around, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, but was he calling out some criticism that the DLC wasn't improving graphics?
Yeah, I think the complaint was some reviewers were saying that the graphics for the DLC for the new Grand Theft Auto, the Lost and the Damned, their complaints were that it doesn't increase the graphics at all. And he's like saying, well, really, is it the DLC's place to increase the graphics?
I would say no.
Expansions, at least in the PC world, have always mean content.
Yeah, that's new to me. I've never heard anybody complain about that. I didn't know that that was an expectation ever.
Has there ever been a DLC thing to actually improve the graphics for a game substantially?
Not unless there was a significant bug in the graphics, like every time you walked on water, you turned invisible or some crap. They would fix that.
Was that Jesus the game?
Valve
improve
did for Half-Life.
Awesome, because I was done. You're right.
Oh, that was funny.
Ivan, keep going.
No, go ahead. I'm done now.
Yeah, it's not their place.
Well, they'd have to totally redesign the graphic engine.
Yeah, it's not like you get a better graphics card on your Xbox, and so they can just up the poly count on everything and make it look nicer.
I think people really do just expect too much.
I don't expect anything ever.
I expect the worst thing to happen that can possibly happen, and then when it doesn't, I'm pleasantly surprised. In all cases, in all situations, that's how I live my life. What is the worst possible outcome you could possibly get from something? Like, I'm going to go to work today. I hope I don't get gang raped on the way there. And then I don't. And then I'm like, it's a good day at work.
When all else fails, lower your standards. Remember that, kids.
Oh, she only had syphilis. Well, that's not so bad.
They can cure that.
There's treatments.
Next topic.
Message from Jimmy from Sweden. Dear friends, I own an Xbox 360 and want to play an MMO on it, but there doesn't seem to be any. So my question is, why do you think there isn't an MMO for consoles? I know the I know the mouse and keyboard argument, but they got first-person shooters to work with gamepads. Can't they do the same thing for MMOs? Love the show.
My biggest thing is I think that there's not a market for it on the consoles.
Well, it's going to be a lot easier to do this kind of thing on PC because then you can control billing. And if you want to do an MMO on a platform, now you have to work with the platform maker. And that's just a whole level of pains in the asses. Now, there is Final Fantasy. I don't know how many people are actually still playing on that.
That's not a good example of if you're going for pro MMO on the console. Someone had it, and I tried it briefly at their place. Yeah, the controls are as bad as you think they would be. It was a huge pain in the rear to do anything.
So what you're saying is they'd actually have to make the MMO just for the console, just to use the gamepad. Because obviously, I think Final Fantasy started as a PC one.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, you guys played it on the PC. So they ported it over to the Xbox, and obviously it didn't port well.
Wait a minute, they have one, don't they? 360? The hell's it called? Keep going, I'll see if I can find it.
The Age of Conan MMO, I know it's failing in PC world, but I remember them saying that they're still planning on doing the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bold prediction to say that a lot of companies are going to try to make that model work on the platforms, and eventually someone will be successful at it. I mean, oftentimes you look at things like FPS and just multiplayer in general that just starts out on a PC and then eventually makes its way to consoles. It'll happen. It's just not happening now.
For it to happen, they're going to need to redesign how the MMO works, basically, though.
They just need less buttons. I mean, what do you really need to do for an MMO other than move forward, move back, auto attack, and open up inventory, and then have some hotkeys for spells? They could easily do some kind of radial menu thing like they do, and they do that in a ton of games.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. But I'm sure there are people that are not computer people at all that would like that, but like I said, I thought it was horrible.
I don't even know if it's worth doing, because who doesn't have a computer now?
Yeah, you're not really going to get 11 million people to switch from their computer to the console.
If you want to play an MMO, you use your computer. They're not that graphics intensive. They don't need that high-end hardware. In fact, that's half of the appeal most of the time, is they're usually pretty simplistic and not a lot's going on.
Okay.
What? You find it there, Ivan?
So there is a Phantasy Star Universe for the 360.
Is that still around? God, it's been around for a long time.
For the 360 was released in October 06.
Yeah, it's been around since the Dreamcast, I think, was the first one.
Yeah.
Which was a console with an MMO. I've never played it. I've never even seen it played, so I have no idea what it plays like. Well, maybe people can tell us about it and send in mail.
Next topic.
From Eric. Hey guys, I have 2 questions, but first I'd like to thank Chad and the crew for making me laugh week after week with all the friendly banter.
Friendly my ass.
Yeah, we really don't like each other very much.
Do you feel the practice of game reviews...
No, we don't feel. Next question.
Okay.
We don't feel.
Do you feel the practice of game reviews and ratings have contributed to the lack of innovation or out-of-the-box game development?
That doesn't even make sense. How can somebody reviewing your game stop you from trying something new?
The reviews of the games of right now affect innovation for the games of tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone's reviewing, let's say, Halo really high, so everyone's going to start making Halo games. Or everyone reviews Fear 2 really high, so they start making games like Fear 2. Just copy and paste.
And I would say yes, it does. And that's part of my beef with the whole review system.
I think it's more sales than anything. So right now there's this huge surge in scorched earth type games because there's one for the iPhone now which is shooting to the top of the iPhone game charts. They just did the Death Tank for the 360. I think it's more people are just buying them because that's what they want right now.
But don't you think it's all intertwined? Reviews are going to help dictate sales, which are inevitably that's the main thing dictating what games are being made.
I don't know. We've had this discussion before, though, as to how much do game reviews influence people's purchases. And, we all agreed that not much.
I think the last time we talked about this, the consensus was at least this small group was influenced much more by our friends, what they're playing, than what Metacritic scores are.
We have no choice because we hate everybody else. So it really doesn't matter what everybody else is playing because that pretty much dictates that we're not going to play it.
And we hate each other as well, so we got problems.
Exactly. Play a lot of single player.
Mountain Blade.
Mountain Blade.
He has a couple more questions here. Let's see. If game reviews or ratings didn't exist, do you feel that the average gamer would tend to explore or discover lesser known games that they might fall in love with, that would otherwise have gotten a so-so rating and perhaps not even been considered? So, if no ratings or reviews existed, would people go discover more games?
Yeah, then box art would be a lot more important than it is, like it used to be. You'd pick up and buy the game that looked cool.
I remember those days.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
And you were so scorched and burned when it didn't actually turn out that way.
Yeah, but you still were willing to gamble on the box art at that time.
Yeah, but back then you never actually expected your games to work. I didn't.
On the PC, you didn't expect them to work.
No, not at all. Hell, half the time on a Nintendo. I mean, they'd work, but they'd always be buggier. There'd be some, that one monster that jumped a little too fast that you couldn't hit. It was hardware, so you're just kind of... It's just hard to hit. Sorry. It's not fair.
Life isn't fair, kid. This helps you get used to it.
Exactly.
And one last question. Do you feel that there are many games that shouldn't have a multiplayer component and instead should have spent the resources and money on that kick-ass single-player experience?
No, that's retarded.
I believe in the exact opposite. There's a bunch of games that should have dumped their single player.
Hellgate London. Sorry. Isn't that what Roper eventually said? What killed it is they kept pushing for the single player campaign and they were pouring so many resources into it they couldn't maintain the multiplayer one, and so the whole thing died.
I don't know if he said that, but that was always the
assumption.
Well, right now Roper is doing Champions Online. He was hired by Cryptic,
so you can guess what he thinks.
I'm never making a single player game again.
Next topic.
That reminds me, have we talked about the new campaign editor for City of Heroes?
That was in my notes today. Okay, so real quick, the next issue or update for City of Heroes, this is number 14, comes out in March. They're going to include a mission creator. And what it is in the game, they're putting in these companies called Architect Entertainment. You as a mission creator walk into this thing, and you get like a virtual world, like a holodeck, where you can put things around, build your own story arcs. So if you play one of these games, you actually get real experience points from it. It isn't separate. You can actually level your guy from 1 to 50 just by playing these player-made missions. They're going to have a whole rating system, so you can be able to, go in there and say, this one's an awesome one, 5 stars, this one sucks, 1 star, those kind of things. And if you're a maker or creator and you get highly rated missions, you're going to be in this Hall of Fame and you're going to get some perks, some bonuses to your character.
Of course, because, wow, they're setting this up so they don't ever have to make anything again, do they? The game that maintains itself and makes its own content. Bravo!
Very highly regarded ones will get more rewards, and I haven't said those yet.
Like a job at NCSoft?
Probably.
Except they won't pay you, they'll just give you in-game costumes.
Exactly. That's how they're doing their economic cutback.
Wise.
You can make your own enemies with their own powers. And the last thing is, you can have 3 published story arcs per account, 5 missions per arc, 25 objectives per mission.
I really think this is a good idea because it gives them a chance to listen to the voice of the players to see what they want. I remember when I first started playing City of Heroes with you guys, like the first 20 levels or so was pretty much a cookie cutter for all the missions and stuff, and it was pretty much the same layout for all the buildings, and it was kind of boring. And I do remember there were some times when I got to see some of the level 40 and level 50 zones when you guys sidekicked me and whatnot, and I know it did get different, but I'm wondering if this is their way of trying to add on to the game and not make it so repetitive.
Kudos to NCSoft for doing that, but it seems just like Bob said that they're just getting lazy about it. Like, hey, let's just have other people do all our work for us, and we don't have to pay them because we can just give them in-game content instead.
I don't think that's a laziness on their part. I think it's a recognition that, hey, look at all these other games that have been successful by providing creation tools to the user base, and look where the user base has taken it to.
Yeah.
If NCSoft completely walks away from this point where it's like, all right, issue 14, wipe off our hands, we're walking away, then...
They're not going to do that, though. That game's got a really strong base like the first Neverwinter Nights did, and it's going to do the same exact thing. In a year from now, you're going to have some really strong, really well-made story arcs that'll eventually just become part of the game. Because I bet that's what they'll do. If they get really strong ones, they'll be like, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take this from you. We're going to put it into the game and give you an extra slot back so you can make another one. Because this is so good, we don't want it like taking up one of your little 3 things that you get to make. So there, now it's just part of the game, and you get in the Hall of Fame. You're going to end up with this gigantic library of user-created content that's actually going to be really good. Because a lot of these things that were made, especially, I keep thinking Neverwinter Nights, the first one, had a lot of heart put into them.
Didn't some of those actually get put into like real add-on expansions?
Yeah, that was the Kingmaker was one that someone made.
There were 4 of them. There's Infinite Dungeon, Kingmaker, Witch something or other. I don't know. There were 4 of them, and they got made official, and you bought them for like $6 a piece or something. And they were really worthwhile to buy, too, because they were all really good. I don't know if it was recently, but I just went to their site a little while ago, and it said, final patch for Neverwinter Nights. We're done. Goodbye.
And that was Video Game Show episode number 131 for Sunday, March 1st, 2009. Any ham sandwiches or share dream pies to give to the world, gentlemen? Share dream pie to Chris for not being here to talk about the fight night thing.
Yeah, it's going to be really relevant by the time he gets back.
Yeah. I know people wanted to hear it. Sorry.
It's good to want things. People in hell want ice water.
Hey, at least you didn't get gang raped on the way to work.
Maybe he did. He hasn't come back yet.
I came across a decent website. So ham sandwich to jinx.com. They got some decent like gamer t-shirts and stuff.
Never heard of Jinx?
No, never heard of them.
That's like the official website for World of Warcraft merchandise. Yeah, they've got Murloc's famous fish taco stand t-shirts.
Couple announcements. First up, thanks to Naruto20 and White Assassin 10 on the GamerCast Network forums, we're giving away 2 invites to the closed PC beta for Battlefield Heroes. For the chance to win, all you have to do is become a follower of the Video Game Show Twitter account, which can be found at twitter.com/videogameshow. I'll put a link in the show notes. We'll give the invites away to 2 random followers on Wednesday. This Friday for the GamerCast Network Gaming Night, they're playing Call of Duty 4 on the Xbox 360 and Killzone 2 on the PlayStation 3. Go to the GamerCast Network forums at gamercastnetwork.com/forums for all the details. And as always, send your comments, questions, queries, concerns, or roll call question to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org, Skype us at videogameshow, or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long-distance call, and all normal fees apply. And that's a wrap. Good night. Everyone start recording. Who isn't recording?
I am now recording.
I am recording. Okay.
Keith, you're recording?
I've got 15 minutes already.
Okay, Ivan, you're recording?
Yeah.
And Tom, you suck. So...
Yes, I do.
There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, then say go. Ready?
It's going to cost you $10.
Oh.
You're a cheap whore. That's what I like about you, Tom. No standards.
And 1, 2, 3.
2, 3,
Go.
Go.
Let's try that again.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
2, 3,
Go.
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 Damn it, Phil! What are you doing?
Chad is saying 1, 2, 3. We all just say go.
But I want to say 2, 3, go.
No! That's not how this works.
You're doing it wrong.
1, 2, 3.
Go.
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 Close enough.
Whatever.
It's fine.
Dude, we're pathetic. How difficult is it?
You get 5 grown men to say go at the same time.